Hey everybody, welcome. I am Jenna and this is Apple Dolly, and I'm so happy that you're here. Say hi when you hop on. And what we're making today is a faux fiber optic tree. This is nothing new. These were made back in I think it was the 50s. I remember one of my patients having one and I really loved it. And then Tony and I were in an antique shop a few weeks ago and they had one. So I really checked it out and took pictures. Of course I asked permission and they said yes. So then I figured it out. So, and I'm changing it up just a little bit. So what we're starting out with is I have a round circle. And I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. It was $2.49 and 40% off. Then I went over to Dollar Tree and I got a plunger handle. I didn't get the plunger, which they questioned it, and I got a new follower out of it, my cashier. But this is the plunger handle. I didn't want to pay $2 something for a dowel rod because I'm only making one. So I got the plunger handle. We drilled a hole in the top and put a screw. Can you see the screw is not flush? You need that little bit of gap. I put a little bit of glue between the dowel rod and the base and put another screw in the bottom, and it also is not flush. You need a little bit of space there. Can you see that? You need a little bit of space. So I painted it with chalk paint in ivory. It's a Waverly's chalk paint. I have a little scrap. This is felt. Whatever color you paint yours, you need a little tiny scrap of fabric, and I'll show you what that is. And it doesn't even have to be that wide. You need 4 1-inch wood balls that we're going to paint, and I'm going to show you an easy way to paint these. And you need some miniature tree ornaments. I found at Hobby Lobby, now these were $9.99 and then I got 60% off, but this is a nativity. Now we can't use all these characters, but we're going to use as many as we can. I have Gorilla Glue, hot glue, and I have these lights. These are called microdot. I wanted a bigger strand of lights. These are 45 lights. But I went everywhere, couldn't find them. This is what a microdot light is. They just have little tiny beads that are lights on it. These are clear strand. You can get white strand, green strand. But these were $7.99 and 60% off. I went everywhere looking for these lights, but I didn't think about going to Amazon for them. But these are battery operated. You can also get the plug-in ones. It just depends on what you're going to do with it. I also have a star ornament. Now this was Hobby Lobby, and it was $5.99 and 60% off. What I liked about it was dimensional. See, each one of these stars is hooked to the next one with a jump ring. I'm thinking we're only going to use these 2 center ones because I think this outer one is going to be, hi Mom, I think this outer one is going to be too big. And I'm going to peel off this gem and this bow here, but we do not need the hanger. But I thought this star for nativity was very pretty, and it's glittery. Can you see the glitter? So, and then go to your husband's stash of stuff and steal his fishing line. That's what I did anyway. So, don't tell him. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint our beads. And this is the easiest way to paint beads that you don't have paint everywhere. take your paint. I'm using the ivory chalk paint and a Ziploc bag. And it takes very, very little. Just pour a little bit in there. And when I say very little, very little. And then we have these 4 1-inch balls, throw them in there, zip it closed, and then just start kneading the bag. Rolling these balls around in that paint. Now, I take my Ziploc bag, take all the air out of it, seal it closed, and put it in the refrigerator. So you can use this bag and the paint in here several times. Now I got these balls from Amazon because I bought them in bulk. Then take your beads, put them out on a piece of paper towel. And just roll them. A couple different directions. And then take them and put them on a skewer. Just skewer them. This is the best way so you don't have paint all over your hands, because these things can be hard to paint. Then I'm going to slide them on here and just put a little bit of space. See, I'm using the paper towel, a little bit of space. And then I'm going to put them between 2 cans, just like that, and let them dry. That's the easiest way to paint wood beads. So we're going to take our contraption we made. Now this looks like a paper towel holder. Now you can buy, and I think IKEA is the place that has them. They're just look exactly like this, or paper towel holders. If you can find one of those even at a thrift shop, you've got all this step except for drilling your hole in the top and putting a screw in the bottom. Done. So we're going to take our fishing line. Whoop, nope, we're going to start with our lights. I skipped the step. We need to put our lights on first. So I'm going to unwind these. Now see, these are just tiny little, see that bead right there? That's your light. So I wanted a strand of 100, could not find them anywhere, because the more lights you have on here, the more of a fiber optic look you have. Okay. So there's one light right here at the end. And I'm going to wind it around the top. Let me put this on my lap. There you can see. Let me pull you closer. Okay. Right here on the, I'm going to wind this around this wire so that this light is sticking up. See how it's sticking up? And I'm going to just wind it around the wire about 2 times. And then I'm going to start winding it down the dowel. And the closer you can get these, the better. So if you have a strand of 100, you can really get a lot of light here. But even this little bit of light is 45. Now here and there, I'm just going to put a dot of hot glue just to stabilize it. There we go. Just a tiny little dot is all you need, because you don't want that to show. And see, I'm just twisting the dowel rod and holding the lights in my hand and going down. See, I'm going to go up to where I glued that one, and I'm going to push these closer together. And what's nice about using this plunger, the dowel, is you have the grooves down here on the bottom where the plunger screws on, and it helps to hold your light there too. Oops, I got a knot in my wire. Hold on. These were made back in the 50s. And what they used to do is they used to put little tiny screws all the way around the base here for the fishing line. But we're not doing that. So I'm going to add some extra light because I got all this light left. I'm going to go back up again. And this wire really gets tangled. And then I'm going to put a dot of glue, and I'm going to come back down again. So whatever strand, color strand of light you get, some of them are green, some of them are white, that's what color you want to paint your dowel rod. Because you don't want to see that dowel rod. Like if you have white lights, you don't want to see a green wire running down it. You see, this goes pretty quick if you turn the dowel rod. And you want to make sure that your dowel rod is pretty well covered with these lights. Now my fishing line is getting tangled. There we go. Okay, when you get down to your very last, I have about 6 lights here. I'm going to put a tiny dot of glue down here to hold this. Just take a second for it to catch. And then I'm going to weave the last 6 lights on the base, down here on the base, because I'm going to put some Spanish moss over this and put baby Jesus, Mary, and Joseph right here in the front. So that way the light will shine through the Spanish moss a little bit. So I'm just going to put a dot of glue, and I'm only doing it to what is going to be the front of the tree. And I'm just weaving it around. Can you see that? You can't see that. Let me get you closer. See, I'm just weaving it around. And I'm just putting a dot of glue here and there. And I mean a tiny dot. And I'll show you what this looks like in a second, how I weave this in and out. Just right in the front, from one side to the other, but most of the lights I want in the front. Okay, we got one more light there. Let's do it like that. So I'll show you how I twisted this. This hot glue catches pretty quick too, so. It's now our battery pack. I'm going to take it around the back. Oops. Get that stuck in that glue. There we go. So I'm going to take, this is how I have the lights woven, just right in the front. Okay? That's like the last 6 on the string. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to go around one time right at the base of the dowel rod. And take the wire to the back of the tree. Can you see what I'm doing? There, that's better. So I wound it around the wire, around the very base of the dowel rod to the back. And then I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue right where the wire is going to lay. Now the rest of this is going to be underneath. But we can't put it underneath yet because we have to do our string. Okay, this is what we've got. See, the lights are just wound all the way up and down. And then the last 6 lights, I just weaved around there on the front and just put a tiny dot of glue here and there to hold that in place. And then in the back, the wire is just a little dab right there to hold it so it'll stay going out the back of the tree. So let's see how many of these ornaments that we can put on here. Now I am cutting off all the hangers. So that's Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. Yeah. So I'm just going to snip off these hangers because we don't need those. We're not using them as a hanging ornament. Okay. Let's put baby Jesus on first. And you can't put your ornaments clear out here to the end. They will interfere with your string. So you got to put them like halfway and back toward the dowel rod. So I'm going to stick baby Jesus on there, and I'm just using hot glue right there in the middle on the front. So making sure I got Mary and Joseph here. I'm going to put Mary on one side of him, and I'm going to put Joseph on the other. Now you want to make sure that your characters are facing forward, because I almost put him down looking out back. So see? So let's see what other characters we can get on here. Let's do the angel. Where do we want to put her? Can we mount her? What do you think about putting her up above? Yeah, I like that. So she's going to be just right above baby Jesus. Here's one of the wise men. So let's stick him back here. So we have one, we have to put all 3 of them on there. might be able to get all these on here. I'm going to put the animals in the back. Here's a donkey. Here's a camel. And some sheep. And here's the shepherd boy. So the only thing I don't think I'm going to be able to get on here is the cow. And truthfully, the cow looks like a reindeer. So let's put him, let's see, right here beside the donkey. Right there beside the camel. So there we go. We have the angel, Mary, Joseph, baby Jesus. Here's two of the wise men. There's the third. The animals and the shepherd boy are around the back. You see, I went from halfway. You have to have that distance there. And you'll see in a moment why. Okay? So whatever you're going to do to this here, you have to do before we do our lights. So I want to put just a tiny bit of Spanish moss right here where baby Jesus is. And I'm just using a tiny little bit. Because once you put the string on, you cannot get your hands back inside here. So everything has to be done now. Let me put a little bit more. And I am just cutting off tiny little snippets. And what I'm doing is covering up the light that we wove on the bottom here. And it helps if you don't glue yourself to it. Put a little bit over here. There you go. See, just a tiny little bit right there in the front. So, grab your fishing line that you stole from your husband. He actually knows I did this.
News to me.
And I'm going to make, get up here, I'm going to make a loop and just partially tie this, because this stuff is like, you really got to look to see it. See, I just made a loop. And I'm going to put it on the bottom and then pull it tight and double knot it. This is the easiest way, because you try to knot it once, you know, loop it and knot it once it's here. It doesn't work out very well. At least not with my fingers. Okay. So I'm going to cut off the, so I just, you won't be able to see it, but I just tied it and looped it right there. So then what we're going to do is, you're holding your string taut. Let me get you closer. Let me move closer. So you take your string and you hold it really tight. and you take it up and you loop it around that top screw, and then back down and around the bottom screw. Now, you can figure out your own spacing here, but I'm doing maybe a ½ inch, quarter inch between, and that you just keep going around and around. Now, their original ones, the ones they used to make, they would put screws all around here and loop the string around that. I thought this would look nicer doing it underneath. Now you can put as many layers of this fishing line as you want. You're just looping it around and back up and looping it around and back and forth is what you're doing. See why I say whatever you do, your arrangement on the inside, you have to do ahead of time, because once you get this on here, it'd be very hard to change something. Now your string is going to be in the way. Your cable there, so you just have to like fuss with it to get it. So we're just going around and around. And if Tony is still here, I'll have him turn the lights off so you can see it lit up. Because he's getting ready for work. See how I'm doing it? I'm just going around and around it. Now if you see somewhere on your base that you have too much of a spacing between the strings, you can go back and put another layer. You can go around this a couple of times. I'm just going back and forth. Now I just wrapped the string twice around the top because we're almost back to the beginning here. Now you can't put your ball feet on until you are done this step, because they will definitely be in your way doing this. Let me check to make sure if I need. Okay, so we're going to tie this off. Now you have to hold this really tight, because if you don't, this will let loose and then you'll have to start all over. So let me lay this down. And I'm just going to cut off a piece, and I'm going to wind it around the bottom nail a couple of times, and then I'm just going to tie it off just like we did at the beginning, and we'll put a double knot. Well, if my fingers will cooperate, trying to find this stuff is like almost invisible. Trying to work with something invisible. It's 50 degrees out today, and someone's out cutting grass and weed whacking. It's hard to believe. Hey, still got dandelions growing. Flowers are still growing down here. The nurseries are still selling outdoor flowers. Okay. Let me wait one more knot. Okay, now I'm going to take the Gorilla Glue, and the reason I'm using Gorilla Glue is because hot glue will melt the string. You don't want that. So I'm just going to take a dot of Gorilla Glue and put it right where the nail is. Let me grab a hold of this. Right where the nail is and where I put my knot. And what that's going to do is just in case, it's not going to let that knot get loose. So, up here at the top, so that's what we have so far. Can you see the strings? Yeah, you can see them all the way around. I think this star ornament, I'm going to pull this bow off if I can. Yeah, it'll come right off. And I'm going to take the two inner stars. I'm going to take those off. They're just held together with the jump ring. I'm just going to cut it with my wire snips. Maybe. There we go. Because I think this star, bye, have a good day. I think the bigger star is too much. See, it would be too much up there. But these two smaller ones, I think will be perfect. And I'm going to take this and maybe not. Let me trim these tails off here. I have the wrong scissors here. Yeah, I'm going to glue that back up on the top. Right where the jump ring attached this, put a dot of glue. See how that middle one moves? And I'm thinking I'm going to glue it right here. Let me get my light standing back up here. So my thought is that one little light will shine through this. Okay? So let me put some glue on this. Let me make sure I got the front. You don't want to glue this on the back. And I'm just going to hold that for a second. And what happens when you turn your lights on, the light bounces off all of this. Let me turn the overhead light off. Is that better? A little bit. I still have the camera lights on. But see how the light bounces off all the string? So why I said I wanted 100 strands, so I could totally cover that whole dowel rod with lights. So, and if you could find the colored lights, that is beautiful. It's even, why am I blurry? Am I blurry to all of you? Hi Di, hi Jill. So, see how the light bounces off all these strings? So the more light you have, the nicer. And if you get 100 strand, you can wrap them around the base, and then you get light from up your dowel rod and from the base shining up. But look how much it looks fiber optic. That's why I said this is a faux fiber optic. So this is a wooden base from Hobby Lobby, a Dollar Tree plunger handle, some mini tree ornaments, and some lights. So we still have to put our feet on, so this is not lopsided. So I'm taking the 1-inch balls. I am using both glues because we do not want this to come apart. Let me wipe the tip off there. Okay. So I'm using both glues, the Gorilla Glue and the hot glue. And I'm just going around the little hole that's in the ball. I'm going to lay this down. And I'm just going to glue these right to the base. And I'm going in about a 1/2 inch with these, because the only thing these are going to do is hold it high enough off your table for your light box. And we can glue the light box underneath here too. You don't want a lot of hot glue on these because it could melt your fishing line. And you don't want to go through all this melted fishing line and have to figure out how to fix that. So I'm just using a tiny bit of hot glue, and that's just going to help it hold. Really 3 is all we're going to need. And I'll show you in a second. Yeah, so we could glue, let me see how this opens. We could glue this also underneath. My ball doesn't want to stick here. Let me hold it for a second. So I have excess wire here from the light. I'm going to wrap it a little bit around the screw on the bottom twice, and then I'm going to hot glue this battery pack also underneath here. This is what underneath looks like. And this is the whole thing. I'm holding one of the balls so I can't let loose at the bottom. You can make these, Jill, in any size you want. You can make smaller ones, you can make really tall ones. The one I saw at the thrift shop where I got this idea again was really tall, and it had bigger ornaments on the inside of the string. I just made this the size because I bought the dowel, the handle from Dollar Tree, so that's what I got my base, so it would look in proportion. Thank you, Jill. And but you can make them really tall. You can use a full-size ornament in there if you use a bigger diameter circle of wood. So, so if you use the paper towel holder, you can just make a shorter one. But this can be in any size you want. So the one I saw was really tall. I would say it was probably 2 foot because it was on a big diameter. I would say probably a 16-inch circle. So but I just used the handle from Dollar Tree for the plunger, so that's why I'm making it this size. But yeah, this is a faux fiber optic tree. And this is something from the 50s. They did this a long time ago. As soon as I spotted the one at the antique store, I remembered my patient having one. And so I took tons of pictures and started figuring it out. And this is what I come up with. So I hope you like this. And please, if you try any of these, anything that we make, please post a picture. So show me what you did different, because you might look at this and say, oh, if you would have done XYZ, you know? But you want to use the tiny little like seed lights, because you don't want like the mini lights. The light itself is too big. So here we go. We did this in 40 minutes. So that's not bad. But just think what a nice gift this would be. This would be a very unique, unusual gift if you make this. So what do I have in this? I have $4 for the ornaments, and we used them all except for one. And I think the cow looks like a reindeer. So I wasn't using him anyway. And an ornament that I paid $2 for. The wood balls, you can get a pack at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and they're about $2, but right now they're 40% off. $1.25 for the dowel, $2 minus 40% for their circle, my husband's fishing line, a little tiny bit of paint, and the lights were like $4. So this is a very unique, different gift, and you can make it pretty cheap. And in 40 minutes, you got a really nice gift here. So thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. Give me some thumbs up, some stars, some hearts if you like it. And see you Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody.